Yeah, you'll be fine. The Pfizer shot, you'll be good. It's the second one. The second Pfizer shot is when you get all punch drunk. So
it's supposed to knock you on your ass. Better schedule a nappy.
Dude, listen, I have come to appreciate the nappies. I love a good nap. I never get to have one, but I'm not like Sarah who gets a nap all day long.
Hey, that's what happens. That's what you do. That's the choice you make, Rob. What's up, folks? Welcome
hey, everybody.
to the Sidekick Show. It is Monday, May 10th, if that means anything to anybody. It looks like some people are watching ads before we get rolling. So
nice.
Yeah, I tried to shut them off, but I don't know, whatever. Sometimes things don't save. Like you hit save and then it just has problems anyways. So hopefully that's not too much of a problem. What's up? I see Sarah already in shock here.
Yep.
We should try and work out elaborate bits to really start things rolling, but no, we didn't have time. Rob was too busy with work. I brought my nerds with me today. So
look at that.
I don't know if you
look at that. We can hear it.
Yeah.
Wait, what flavors do you have?
It's rainbow. It's rainbow flavor. It tastes like the rainbow.
Wait, that's Skittles. Now you're encroaching on copyrighted material.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, welcome to the Sidekick Show. If you guys are here for the first time, then thank you.
Hey, welcome. Yeah,
you're gonna be a little lost. Check out the banners here. We're talking about speed later in a second. So make no mistake about it. And then we're gonna hit you with a little bit of I don't know how much news Rob gathered because it's a busy day at work. I only brought up one kind of release at the shop, so let me throw that up. I don't know, Rob, if you want to say anything to anybody before we get rolling.
Well, actually, I was going to say, if people have some news items that came out this week that they want to quickly throw up and have John and I talk about, let us know. I mean, not much really happened, but there's a couple of announcements on some casting stuff, and as well the Venom trailer, Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer dropped today. And if you haven't seen it, John, his brother Chris, and Andre do a trailer reaction on it, so you can after this show you can go back into the YouTube channel and look at that. It's about 13 minutes or so.
Yeah. So we have it's a trailer drop for Random Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, and then we also did a super quick trailer reaction to Kevin Hart's new project, Fatherhood, for jokes. But anyways, I just wanted to mention the Keanu Reeves comic book called Berserker, BRZRKR. It's on issue 2 at the moment. So if you're digging Keanu vibes, he does have a writing credit on this book. The character is him, and he's very Wolverine-like. He's kind of like a government agent soldier, but he doesn't kind of know about his past. And I'll give away a little bit. It's kind of like an old guard situation where it seems like he's been in existence for a long time. So I think that'll be pretty cool, and I'm sure it's already been picked up for a movie. When it completes and comes into a trade paperback, we will 100% be carrying that. But if you are into the single issues, give me a message or a call, and I will set you up with those. The book's a lot of fun. But posts a picture of the interior art, so it's a nice looking book, and it's got a lot of violence going on. He actually punches people's heads apart and things like that. So it's a lot of fun.
Sweet.
But yeah, that's it. That's all I got for new stuff.
Wait, for real? Hey, you should be talking about that crow statue that you put up on the Heroes World Facebook page from Diamond Select. Yeah. That is awesome. If people haven't seen it, you can go check out the Facebook page on Heroes World online.ca, I believe is website. And they have this wicked PVC statue of Brandon Lee's version of the Crow, kind of taken from one of the shots of the movie with the circular window in the background, the crow on his shoulder. That looks amazing. My one question for you though, you left the strap on the plastic elastic on the bird and his shoulder. Does the bird come off, or is it permanently affixed? Do you know?
No, I think it's just there to make sure it doesn't get snapped off during transportation or whatever.
Okay, cool.
But yeah.
So you gotta go check that out.
Yeah. What?
All right. So hey, so I saw that Fraser made a comment about Impulse coming to the Flash television show. So yes, that is true. They released actually some behind the scenes photos. Well, I think it was Canada Canada shoot or something like that. Some paparazzi site was had grabbed some. So I actually don't have any photos to share with you right now, John. But the shot of Impulse, it actually doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty comic accurate with the goggles, the full silver outfit with the red. You gonna try to Google it?
Yeah, I'll try to pull it up as you're talking, but
yeah. So it looks really cool. So Impulse is, if I remember correctly, it is Barry's great grandson from the future, and he was introduced back in the '90s during the '90s comic run. So anyways, he's coming to Flash season 7. It looks like, if people are big Flash fans, all 2 of the main cast
I don't know if this
members.
is it or not.
Well, it is, but that's probably one of the worst.
It's like Canada grabs on the front. Like, I don't know what's going on here.
But there was other shots, behind the scenes shots, but that's okay. That looks like it was like from Party City. But a couple of the lead actors are actually leaving. So the guy who plays Cisco Ramon and Harrison Wells are both leaving after the season. So if you're a Flash fans, sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all I got. I'm saying sorry to Flash fans and to Sarah. Okay. What else do we have for news, John? We talked about Loki last week, as shifted to Wednesday, January the 9th, that it will be released on Wednesdays. We don't know why. It just is. They switched that off. Breaking last week was Red Sonja was cast with Hannah John Kamen, who was Ghost in the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. She was cast as Red Sonja, and that starts going into production. I actually want to say pretty soon. John, you had your boy Tom Cruise gave an interview, and I actually haven't read the full interview, but I believe it was in. Maybe it was Esquire, talking about Mission Impossible 7 and that it was the most death-defying stunt work he has done yet. I don't know how you drop.
I don't know how he tops what he always does. His movies are just an excuse for him to do crazy stuff. So I'm looking forward to Top Gun when he probably is actually flying friggin' some military jet fighter.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then Paper Girls. So this is the Brian K. Vaughan comic series. I don't remember how many issues it went to. It was a finite amount. I think it was like maybe 50 or 60 issues at most. Anyways, they cast Ali Wong in it. This is the Amazon series. They have the cast. So if you're not familiar with Paper Girls, it's about a bunch of group of about 5 teenage girls in the 1980s who have a paper route, and something happens and then transports them into the future that our future teenagers are kind of turned into zombies and whatnot, and they don't know how the hell they got to the future. And one of the girls runs into her future self, which is going to be played by Ali Wong. So that's pretty cool and exciting. I'm probably not doing a lot of probably a bit of a disservice to the property as a whole. But it's kind of hard to explain without kind of giving too much away of the plot. So I would recommend maybe if you want, Google Paper Girls to get an idea and hit the shop and pick up some of the trades. I think there's only the 4, I believe. So
yeah. For the hardcovers, I want to say it's 3 or 4. The book does phenomenally well for us. Anyone we kind of like let try out a issue 1 or volume 1 or whatever, they always end up just coming in for the entire run. So it's definitely a good book.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The comic is a lot of fun. It's just, I feel like Brian K. Vaughan he just writes a lot of different things. Like he's very. His ideas are very wide and they're pretty cool. So, and then the last thing is, John, we kind of talked about this offline, but there was a story out in the Hollywood Reporter with respect to an interview that Gal Gadot gave I believe it was a radio station in Israel called N12, and they brought up the whole accusations with Joss Whedon. Her name was mentioned during the Ray Fisher saga that has been ongoing these last almost a full year. And she just said that he essentially did threaten her career. And I'm going to paraphrase because I can't find the exact quote, but I guess she wanted to she wanted to change up something. This is now during the Justice League reshoots with Joss Whedon. She wanted to change something. She didn't like the way that the line was written for her character and said, can I say it this way or do something different? I don't think this is how Diana would do things. And he essentially, I guess, got kind of up in her face and said, I will just do what you're being told to do. Otherwise, I will ruin you. I will destroy your career, and made some pretty implicit threats against her, to which she just said, I'm not having any of this, and filed a complaint pretty quickly. So I don't know when this thing ends. I don't know when we will no longer have any more of these stories or anecdotes about the Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns issues with Justice League. I don't know when I mean, I imagine there's still going to be things that will trickle out over time, but that's just the latest information from that. So,
yeah, it's crazy. Like Ray Fisher was like kind of standing alone for a good while, and then now I guess it might be legal issues or whatever. But yeah, it's not looking for good for Josh Whedon. So.
No, not at all. And that's all I got for you, John. Not too much this week.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a crazy day for you, Rob. So don't worry.
Oh, thanks.
With his real job. So thanks for digging up some stuff and making do. But thank you everyone for joining us. So I think we're done for the news. We're done for recommendations from the shop. The podcast this week we featured Jupiter's Legacy episode 1 and the Bad Batch episode 1. Mm-hmm. So if you watch those and wanted to hear what we thought about those two shows, definitely check it out. And then we did drop, like Rob said, we dropped a Venom trailer reaction and a random Fatherhood trailer reaction. I see my brothers in the comments dropping some heat. So thanks for joining us for those. But without further ado, I think we should go straight to speed because I think we got a lot to talk about.
Let's just speed right into it.
Yeah, let's speed into it. So I'm trying something a little different here. So let me take you back, Rob. Let me take you back to 1919. I don't know if that like is. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, no, you're doing the face-off thing. You're doing the waterfalls face-off. Yeah. I'm doing the Wayne's World.
Yeah. Okay. So let me take you back to 1994. So the Nintendo N64 is on the horizon. So you're hearing all these things called coming out about it. The Sony PlayStation is just dropped in Japan. Sega launches the Sega Channel. I don't know if you remember the Sega Channel, Rob. But it was almost like an early streaming thing where you could play games on like some TV channel if you subscribe via Sega. And then they did drop their 32X kind of upgrade module, which was a phenomenal waste of money. But I did have one, so it's absolutely hilarious. I feel bad for making my mom buy that for me. So thanks, Mom. And in the PC world, Blizzard launched a new game called Warcraft: Orcs and Humans, which would kind of spawn into this entire ginormous franchise.
Didn't they?
Yes. And then the music. So let's guess what Rob was listening to in his car. So let's see if these tracks ring a bell for him. Celine Dion's "The Power of Love." I think that's one of your jams for sure, Rob, right?
It was not on my mixtape, but I am very familiar with the song.
Okay, so one of my jams, All for One's "I Swear." A staple at those school dances. So if anyone grew up with me, those grade school dances, you would listen to All for One. I swear,
holding your partner by the waist so you didn't slow moving around.
Let's reminisce, and we'll continue to reminisce. So that Lisa Loeb dropped her one-hit wonder "Stay" from Reality Bites
with Ethan Hawke in the music video.
Yep. And then the number one song for 1994, Rob's definite jam. I'm pretty sure you own the CD, Rob. Ace of Base, "The Sign." Do you own it?
God. No, I don't. I'm actually don't own it. No, I'm upset with you because I'm looking at. I put it in 1994 music. Okay, and so "I Swear" comes up, but I'm like, you don't mention like Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun, Green Day's "When I Come Around" comes out. Basket Case, like there's all these Buddy Holly by Weezer. Like I'm thinking like, The Offspring, and you're talking about Ace of Base.
Hey, I went to the top 5, and Ace of Base was number 1. So "The Sign" was a hot ass jam. That album was crazy. I remember borrowing the cassette tape from my friend and dubbing it to really date myself. But anyways, all right. So let's jump over to movies. So in 1994,
man.
Yeah.
All right.
So movies I did a little bit more recon for. So,
Okay, cool.
Jim Carrey went on a tear. He did Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber this year.
All in '94.
That's according to what I looked up. I didn't
Holy
understand
moly.
how that was even possible. If they filmed them all and then they just held them back and they're ready to drop them all at once.
Wow.
Gordon started, so he saw the sign, definitely. And then there was a bunch of stinkers that came out: Street Fighter, Beverly Hills Cop 3, Double Dragon, and then there's a string of monster hits. So Shawshank Redemption. I think we've mentioned this several times. A lot of people's favorites in the chat. The Usual Suspects, Pulp Fiction, Natural Born Killers, Forrest Gump, and I feel like that list goes on. And then we'll start jumping to my favorites. So,
wait, I know what your favorite. You got it. Time Cop. I knew
Time Cop. Jean-Claude Van Damme's. I feel like it's the peak of his career. And then True Lies. So definitely a candidate if we're going to do best 90s movies. True Lies is definitely going to be up there. And then the movie we're talking about today, and that is Speed. So now that we've taken this kind of time trip into that era, I hope you guys are ready to talk about the 1994 monster hit that is Speed, starring Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, directed by Jan de Bont.
De Bont. Jan de Bont.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't.
Yeah. All right. If you say so.
Yeah. Anyways, Rob can give us a quick summary of this movie. What's the overall premise of this movie? If for some crazy person that hasn't seen this.
Okay, if you've never seen this is an action movie where a bomb, I guess he's a terrorist is really what he is, decides to strap a bomb onto a bus. And if that bomb, once the bus goes over 50, the bomb is activated. If it drops below 50, boom. And it's up to one cop, one played by Keanu Reeves, to ensure that bus full of passengers never drops below 50.
Yeah. So yeah, Dennis Hopper actually
is the actual.
Yeah. He does a great job summarizing it in his first phone call to Keanu Reeves. He's like, "There's a bomb on a bus. Yeah. That bus goes over 50 miles per hour. That bomb activates. If it goes below, it explodes. What are you gonna do?" I don't know if he adds the pop quiz hot shot in there, but let's kick it off. What do we want to talk about first, Rob? Do we want to talk about the cast, or do you want to dive into scenes? What do you guys want to talk about?
You have the stats about what it was about.
You would think I would have the stats, wouldn't you?
Okay, I got the stats for you, John. Okay,
look at this. Look at Rob doing some work.
I just hit Wikipedia. The budget for the movie was $30 million. The box office gross. Do you want to take a ballpark guess, John?
What did you say the budget was? 30 million?
30 million.
30 million. I feel like this was a smash hit, so I want to say at least 100.
Okay, $350.4 million.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a massive hit. Released in June of 1994, as you said. Directed by Jan de Bont and written by Graham Yost, who's done a number of movies, starring Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, Sandra Bullock. Yeah, this thing was a massive, massive hit. That lit up the summertime of 1994. So that's all the stats I have for you. But
you don't have a count of how many people died and how many minutes.
No, I don't. But I tell you that lady who got taken out by the exploding descending stairwell bomb.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is one of my questions that is going to come up later. Let's hit it now. Who do you think? So you guys in the comics, who do you think died the worst? So Rob's first nomination is the nice lady.
She's crazy. Every time you see her in a movie or TV show, you know shit's going sideways. She is a crazy, crazy lady.
Yeah, she tries to get off the bus. The bomb explodes, and I don't think the explosion kills her. I think she falls through the floor, and the bus runs her over.
Yeah,
and they actually pull the shot out, and you see like her foot, like her body, like just on the tarmac, and they just keep going. So that's nomination number one. Let's throw up poor Harry on there, who gets blown up by the bomb. Some terrible cop work there. Yeah, you don't think that's gonna rig his shit to blow up. And then who else dies horribly? Let me think. There is Dennis Hopper himself. He gets decapitated in the end. In a great scene where Keanu Reeves reveals that he's taller.
Yeah.
Well, I'm taller. Pushes him up.
Yeah, holds up
Okay.
for the sign.
But there's a secret contestant that you may have forgotten about because the movie was rolling so quickly.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember what or if you know what I'm gonna go into. But there's this guy at the very beginning, like this ridiculous security guard who's just harassing Dennis Hopper. He's like, "What are you doing back there?"
Well, he was doing his job. He wasn't harassing him.
I don't know. He could have just stuck his head in and just kept moving, but he gets stabbed in the ear with like I think it's a screwdriver or it's a
pencil.
It
was a pencil, which was when I rewatched this part. So this is the beginning of the movie, and the guy's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I was here to fix it." And he goes, "It's not on my list," which I don't know what list because he's not looking at anything. And then he goes, "Where's your permit?" And Hopper goes, "It's right here." And he's got the piece of paper on top of his toolbox. He reaches underneath, and I'm like, "Oh, does he pull out a gun?" Because like it's been a few years, because his whole hand's underneath. It was just a pencil. Like, what do you got to like hide this whole pencil behind a piece of paper for? You could just be like, "Here," right? But yeah, it was a pencil.
You definitely got that guy so surprised, yeah. And then shout outs to the yeah, I definitely did. I definitely did not remember that. I was like, damn, that's a brutal. That's like I feel like that is definitely the most brutal kill out of this movie. Shout outs to Gordon and Fraser. Mentioned the train driver. I think he just gets shot by stray bullets. But yeah. So I don't know if you guys have your input. Do you think screwdriver or pen to the head or girl thrown under the bus? And I think Sarah chimes in. She says, the girl under the bus because it's probably not an instant death. Hey, I think she's got a point. She might have been I don't know how many tires are on a bus. It might have been the third or fourth one. Not to get too crazy, but okay. So I think we're gonna give it to her, lady on the bus.
Yeah,
I feel like that lady's been around. We've seen her in a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, like she's been Donnie Darko, Child's Play 2. She was in No Country for Old Men. A whole bunch of movies. Extract. She's Rain Man. Yeah, like she's got like a pretty huge credit. A bunch of TV shows: X-Files, CSI, Friends, 6 Feet Under, tons of stuff. Yeah, but every time you see her, she always plays like the crazy neighbor lady or the lady who's like hoarding shit in her apartment. Like she plays a type. She got a typecast. Yeah. Beth Grant is her name.
Jonathan Yo shouts out the cops who are like, "Yo, come on, lady, come on!" Yeah. I'm like, were these guys not brief?
No, but I bet she's got get off, and she's gone. Yeah.
All right. So, okay. So let's go. So we've determined worst death of the movie so far at the moment. So let's talk Keanu Reeves. He's back again. This is our second movie talking about him. I don't know what else he had in this era. I think it was Johnny Mnemonic. I think comes to mind. Walk in the Clouds. One of my personal favorites. This movie.
Right,
so he So he wasn't. After Point Break, he didn't kind of go on like a hit streak, right? That I know of. So all of a sudden he comes back and does this movie. Comes back with the shaved head. Good look for him, eh? What do we think about the buzz cut?
Yeah, I think it worked out well. Okay, so after Point Break, I mean, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. He does My Own Private Idaho with River Phoenix. He was in the Dracula, obviously. Much Ado About Nothing. Little Buddha, he was in that as well. But for you, John, the biggest thing, and probably was in your top pick of 1991, is he was in Paula Abdul's Rush video.
Rush. Paula Abdul. All right, okay.
Yeah, he was, and I know that you would remember it. You would love that. And then yes, he jumped into Speed. It was Johnny Mnemonic.
No opposites attract.
But it's
a solid track
with the cat.
So this is the second time Paula Abdul has come up. She did come up during Running Man, choreographed the Running Man stuff. So
right, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, no, he didn't do Johnny Mnemonic and all that stuff until afterwards. So it was like Speed, then Mnemonic, Chain Reaction, and so on. So I listen. This guy, we said this last week when we talked about Point Break. I was going to say A Walk in the Clouds. We talked about Point Break.
We should definitely. I think we should take a pause before we get into John Wick.
No,
explore the softer side of Keanu Reeves. I love that
Um,
movie.
I'm so thrown off right now. He's mesmerizing. Like, he's charming. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're watching him and you're like, it doesn't make a difference. Like, yeah, I mean, is it because he plays like the everyday guy? Like, he still has that talk. He still talks like this. Like, even in this movie, you could, whatever voice he was using in Bill and Ted's, I think it was his normal voice. He just kind of amplified a little bit of the nuances. And then in Point Break, it was still the kind of the same thing. Come on, Pappas. And then in this one, like, it's very similar, his cadence, I guess you could say, in how he speaks. But man, it's just so enjoyable to watch.
Yeah. Originally, if you read any of the kind of documentation on this movie and stuff, the character was supposed to be written more as like an 80s action star with the quippy one-liners and things like that. And I think the director and Keanu got together and were like, no, we want him to be more kind of compassionate, like a compassionate kind of character. And I actually did pull a clip, and I was going to play it later, but since we're talking about Keanu, I'll pull up one of my favorite scenes from the movie.
Wait, which movie? Is it going to be Speed or Walk in the Clouds, John?
I definitely should pull up some Walk in the Clouds clips, but I'll play this little clip because we're already on this tangent talking about Keanu Reeves. So this is one of my favorite scenes. We're just two cool guys hanging out. Like,
do me a favor, say hello to the princesses.
yeah, like just the way he plays this character. That he do you believe for a second that he's gonna leave this? Like, there's one point where he gets off the bus and everyone's kind of like, "Oh, you're leaving us," but you don't really believe for a second that he's actually going to give up this game that's being thrust upon him. So I just like the way that he played this character, and definitely like that scene there where he's de-escalating a situation and kind of just showing compassion to that guy. We're just two cool dudes chilling out. Like, I'm putting my gun away. Like, who puts their gun away in the middle of that situation, right? Like, he could have just shot that guy in the head, right? Who knows?
Right, but it's not the best way to de-escalate a situation. You've already freaked everybody out that there's a bomb on the bus. Next, you start shooting people, you might have an issue. No, I agree with you, John. Like I said, he's just so fun to watch. I just kind of, I know that we really don't have an idea on how we wanted to present this tonight. I feel like it's going to be really free flowing all over the place. The one thing I wanted to ask you though, did you notice the music in this movie, the score? Did you recognize the score at all?
It has been used. I feel like it's from The Rock or
Bad Boys, The Rock.
Yeah.
It's all of those 90s movies. They all seem to have the exact same like score. I was like, wait, what? Because I just watched The Rock a while ago. Oh, and sorry, something was above my head. I was like, "What the hell?"
And I threw it onto the roof, and I'm waiting for it to fall down.
and we had just watched Bad Boys a while ago as well, right? So I was like, "Oh my god!" It's So, anyways, I just wanted to know if you had recognized that.
Yeah. I definitely recognize the music. So let's move off Keanu. We know he's great. He's a legend. Let's move on to Sandra Bullock for a second here. And then maybe we'll choose our favorite kind of like supporting cast character. So definitely you guys in the comments, there's like, a 10-second delay. So get at us with your thoughts on Sandra Bullock. So this is a character that you usually don't feel, or they would maybe cast, like similar to what we said in Point Break. They could have cast any other types of women or, sexy,
a certain type of blonde symbols or something like that in Los Angeles, right? Stereotypical Los Angeles one, and they didn't.
Yeah, but they choose Sandra Bullock, who doesn't like she's got an average look, I guess. They're setting her up. She's just kind of like running. She's got the dress. She's kind of a mess. She's smoking a cigarette or something while she's trying
at the beginning.
Yeah. It's really funny, kind of like an everyday woman or everyman or whatever you want to call it. And then she just shines like crazy in this movie. I'm pretty sure a lot of people like fell in love with her from this movie, and she doesn't do any, like the typical female characters in an action. No real damsel in distress, no bikini montage or something silly like that. and she just kills this. Like the stuff she gets to work with, like the like when she first comes up and she gets on the bus, she's talking to everybody. You can tell that she cares about everybody. And then she sits on the seat, and Cameron from Ferris Bueller like starts like chatting her up. Like I don't know if he's trying to hit on her or he's just bored.
No, I think he was trying to hit on her.
Yeah. And then she comes up with the gum thing. And she's like, I got gum on my seat. Gum. And she uses it to get out of there. Like that. That's such a great move. And then later on, one of my favorite scenes. So actually, we'll just start. I guess. Yeah. Okay. Let me finish this thought. So one of my favorite scenes is the can scene. So she's driving, and then there's a baby stroller that comes out, and they hit the stroller, and it blows up. But she thinks she's hitting a baby, and then she's just freaking out. And Keanu's like, cans.
It's cans. It's cans.
Just cans. Right. And she starts freaking out. She's like, I don't know what. And then you see Keanu actually. I don't know if he was supposed to smile. I think he actually cracks up. Because he's like just cans, and then he just starts like smiling. And previously his character was like super serious.
Yeah.
So I think that was like I think he was cracking up at her doing that performance. So what do you think of Sandy B in this?
Well, I love her as well. Listen, we all kind of recognize her from Demolition Man. She only had done a few other things prior to that. But it was Demolition Man was 93. You jump into Speed, and then you got While You Were Sleeping, The Net, 2F/C, Time to Kill, Speed 2.
We're not going to talk about Speed 2.
No, and a whole bunch of other Sandra Bullock movies, right? Again, these two have got great chemistry. We talked last week about Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves and their chemistry on screen. And here you go. You have another pairing of two individuals who just have great screen presence and chemistry. Like you can't fake whatever they had. I mean, you are literally filming on this one bus for days and weeks on end. You know, if you're not getting along with that person, you're not going to be able to, no matter how great of an actor you are, there is going to be some tension there you're going to see. Right. So, she's amazing. You know, and she's got these like little quips. I like the you know, when she's like, officer, you know, I got to tell you, I had my license revoked. He goes, oh yeah, for what? And she's like, speeding. It just made me laugh. I was like, oh my god, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Sarah and Fraser nail it right on the head. She's the girl next door kind of look. I don't know if that was a thing, but they could have easily made her the blonde bombshell or something like that.
Well, and she became his partner to a certain extent as well, right? Like on this, she is like telling him like this bus is going to tip. Like she, like she was helping him try to solve this whole entire thing. So she wasn't just taking the orders. Like she was there stepping up to the plate, I guess you could say. So
yeah. She's coming up with solutions and things like that.
Yeah.
My brother's making fun of me saying she's basic. I guess if you define it as she wasn't like kind of like all makeup up and stuff like that, I think that's a good definition. So shout out to the net. Make up.
All right.
So let's wrap up the cast then. Who is your favorite like kind of like non-main cast member? I think Sandy and Keanu definitely the top tier. I don't know if you want to include who is it?
Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels, yeah.
Jeff Daniels is Harry.
Yeah, I was going to say Harry Daniels for a second. Like, no, that's not
Harry
it.
Daniels.
I'm like, that's not it. Jeff Daniels, yeah, from Dumb and Dumber fame. I don't know where. Yeah, like should and Dennis Hopper.
Who played Harry? He played Harry in Dumb and Dumber as well.
He just got lazy, or there's some like type of crazy Marvel continuity going on.
I'm going to give it up to either Alan Ruck was Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but I also, dude, I got to tell you, Joe Morton, once again, another classic movie where Joe Morton appears, and man, that guy, he's just all sorts of cool. He was the captain, right? He was the police captain, rocking that mustache and stuff like that.
So Cameron's funny. He was like, the airport, and he's like, I've already seen the airport. And just like, that's pretty good. And then there's the moment where I think Keanu Reeves has to stick his head into the access port.
Yeah,
and he's like, "F me," and then Cameron's like, "Oh darn."
Yeah, he was doing
like
relay
the messages.
Yeah,
by the way, my buddy drives.
relay.
Yeah. By the way, my buddy drives a bus, and he said there's no access panel like that in the floor, because people would be diving through that all the time. I was like, first question: is there an access panel?
Well, maybe
In the
back in
floor?
1994 there were. LA buses, man, they're all sorts of different.
Yeah. And then Joe Borden, the point where, you know, when they get the radio call, and then they're like, there's a section missing from the bridge.
Yeah.
And of course there's that one guy who's like, oh, I guess they fell behind, and you're like, okay, yeah. These damn construction guys falling behind. And then he replies with like, you're fired. Everybody's fired. He goes on a rant. Like, it's such a great moment. Scott Graziano said the Jaguar guy. I don't remember who this guy is, but he was in a run of movies.
Glenn Plummer is his name.
Yeah. He was in a ton of movies of that era, and he was actually hilarious in that. He's like, just take the phone, and then
are you insured? Yeah. Why? Oh,
yeah. And then there's a point where they're driving, and he's like, "Whoo!" He's like, "Good move," and he's actually like he's basically being taken hostage and enjoying and I'll mention it now. Like, how fast does this movie move, people? I don't know if anyone knows a point. Let me know what you thought the slowest point in the movie was. Because I made a mistake, and I put this movie on before I had to go to work on Saturday, and I'll start watching it, and I'm like already halfway through, and I'm like, oh, you know, I got to get to work. There's no spot for me to stop it, because it opens with the whole elevator scene, which could have been a movie in its own. And then it cuts to that car chase where he's trying to board the bus, and then they're on the bus, and then they get off the bus, and then they're on the subway. Like, it just doesn't stop moving. So if you guys have a point where you thought it was really slow, maybe when they're awarded the medals by the city after the first elevator scene is maybe the slowest point of the movie. I don't know.
That's really quick too, though. Like, it's not a very long scene, right? It's like, I can't believe you shot me, and they're giving you a medal for it. Something I wanted to bring up is, you know, rewatching a lot of these movies. Obviously, we watched a bunch of the ones from the 80s, and we have we've recently been watching stuff from the 90s and on our own. I mean, I know I watched the Rock recently and everything else. There is something about these early to mid 90 action movies that are just so easily consumable. They're very bright. They're easily palatable. They're not, there was no computer effects. Like, if you look at the 80s movies that we had reviewed a few months ago, they're dark, they're gritty, they're grungy. And yet these ones were very like vibrant, fast paced. It's almost as if like they were all the coloring was all processed at the same facility or by the same person. You know what I'm saying? Like, they all had the same colorist. They're all very like, they just pop. And then I started thinking about, you had Die Hard was the proto, guy stuck in a building. And then in the early 90s, then you had Speed, dude on a bus. You had Under Siege, dude on a boat. You had Under Siege.
Yeah, they sometimes call Speed Die Hard on a bus.
Right. And then you had Under Siege 2, dude on a train. Like, there was all these situations where you just had, the hero cop trapped in a confined area to try to have to get out. Right. So I guess my point being is that I can just watch these movies, and there's just so much fun because it was not reliant on these huge special effects. It was practical. They're fast. They're fun. There's just something about them. And the simplicity of it all as well. I was thinking, and it's so stupid because it's been a number of years since I've seen it, but like, when he's getting his coffee after the whole elevator stuff, and that bus explodes and he runs, and I'm thinking, call somebody, but like, we only saw, like, nobody had cell phones except for like those big brick things. It wasn't,
one guy had a car phone. Yeah.
Right. It wasn't in your pocket. And then you see the payphone ringing, like, you hear it. And I'm like, these are concepts that in their simplicity, like, you can't call people now, like back then, like, there was no immediate access. Whereas now it's expected you're going to call somebody. And I guess the simplicity of it all is what made it so, like, it's so much fun to watch it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you're, yeah. I don't know. There's a special magic in some of these movies, and especially I think we're gonna have to start a list of movies. So we ran in this problem when we went back to the 80s. Some of those movies don't hold up now, but I feel like 90s maybe has a better chance of holding up. So for sure, Point Break holds up. We've already discovered that, and for sure, this movie is going to be on that list as well. So
somebody disagrees.
Yeah. Oh,
look at it. So Sarah says that I actually find this movie drags, but just because it feels like it's always the only person that was dragging was that lady. But it feels like it's always
hitting dragged. She got run over.
It's always hitting the climax. So there feels like so many high points. So
she's basically they don't kind of let it rest and come back up. Would be, I guess, our After Dark analogy. Jonathan Yo mentions the money drop scene maybe is kind of a slow point. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they take a second to do the money and find out there's a gigantic hole cut under the mailbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gordon's making his case for the bus, saying it did all its own stunts in such an emotional range. So let's talk a little bit since he brought up the bus, and I think Fraser's brought it up, and a couple people have brought it up. The bus jump scene. What are your thoughts on the bus jump scene? It is pretty funny, especially the lead up when Keanu Reeves is like, I don't know if Scott can maybe shed some light on this, but he goes like, it's an interchange. There's going to be an incline. I'm like, what does that mean?
Now, I'm trying to think, did somebody, did Mythbusters do the bus jump scene?
I don't know if they did it, but they actually have the footage from the bus jump online. I was going to pull it, but I didn't get a chance to. It's been a crazy day. But I think they literally did jump that bus. And the bus after the jump snaps in half.
Right.
And doesn't make it, and it actually on its landing it ices the camera, so that's why there's only like one shot of that bus scene. Right. So they actually did that. Rumor is that the bus scene wasn't even in the script, and the director was just like, we need an action piece. So along the lines of Gone in 60 Seconds, I guess they thought this was a good idea. I definitely think it is one of the weakest points of the movie, but all the stuff up to it like is pretty funny. And then they land the bus, and it's pretty like everyone's like celebrating. So maybe you just needed that moment where everyone can like celebrate together because they're all like working together. Everyone's like, oh, get your heads down, and we're gonna jump over this thing. And Keanu, I think he's like holding Sandra Bullock to like kind of shield her. She still takes a bump in the noggin, and Keanu Reeves, because he's a classy ass gentleman, unlike Jacob in Twilight, he just takes his shirt and wipes her head. He doesn't rip off his whole shirt and go, let me wipe your head here and show off this physique that I've got, which he did look incredibly ripped in this movie, definitely bigger than he did in Point Break. So everyone's already criticizing the physics. Yeah, there's no incline that would cover that. I feel like the other guys, the other cops should have hastily made a ramp or something. So that would be my only idea to save to kind of like ground that scene a little bit with reality. If they're like, we're gonna drive ahead and we're gonna make a ramp and you're gonna ramp over this thing, but
they're gonna dismantle all the skateboard ramps in Los Angeles and quickly affix them to the highway.
Or maybe they do like when Superman would lie down on the
That's
train
right.
track.
They make the train tracks.
Maybe they would put up like a bunch of rods, and the bus would just drive exactly over those rods, and Sandra Bullock would have to steer the bus over it.
But why not one of those giant, like those airbag things? Like when Mel Gibson jumps off the roof in Lethal Weapon, he lands on the airbag. Why not a giant airbag at the bottom so the bus just lands on it? Come on.
And then continues going.
And then continues going.
Built a ramp down. Yeah, maybe they could have built a ramp downwards. But anyways, it is what it is. It's in the movie. There's nothing you can do about it now. But
but think about it though. At this point of the movie, though, is it really that like you know what? Sure, why not? Like you've got all this stuff happening, as we've said before in this show. This thing is moving. It's moving. It's hitting you. Sarah's biggest complaint is that there's so much happening. It's climax, and climax, and so why not have the bus jump the gap? Like, like at that, sure, why not? Because let's just keep it going. You know, I thought it was great.
Yeah, it at least looks better than the flying Mustang in Gone in 60 Seconds. So, you know, like if I could go back and edit Gone in 60 Seconds, I would definitely take that
That'd be
jump
Gone.
out. And yeah, it'd be way more solid movie. You know, come with some other gimmick. Are there any other kind of scenes we want to talk about that we didn't really cover? Any favorite moments or other things that maybe we missed? I like when after Harry gets killed,
Right.
and then Hopper calls up Keanu, and then Keanu just loses his shit, and he's just like he's like raging out on the bus, and then he's like, "We're gonna die" or something like that.
Yeah.
I love that, and I love his phrase in the movie because it's part of my what would you call it, vernacular or whatever, that F me when something bad happens to you, like like, you know, you're just like F me, and I'm like, I don't know what it means, but you know, I guess it just means I'm after whatever. But I definitely use that. I still use that to this day. So I don't know how many years between this movie, 20 something whatever years. So is there anything else that you want to talk about?
No, you know what? I just overall this movie is just a shit ton of fun. Dennis Hopper. I mean, I know we talked about it before. This guy is he's a whirlwind. Or at least he was. I mean, he passed away in 2010. This guy is a whirlwind. I mean, he's known for so many huge roles. Rebel Without a Cause. You can go into True Romance. I mean, you know, he was the Christian Slater's dad in True Romance. Unfortunately, he was also King Koopa in the Mario Brothers movies. He was in Easy Rider, Waterworld, Apocalypse Now. You know, I mean, just tons and tons of movies. You know, throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Flashback with what's his face?
Fraser shouts out Waterworld.
Yeah, Waterworld. Yeah.
Waterworld, which maybe Waterworld has aged much better, so maybe it's worth checking that out. Jonathan Yo mentions the scene where Keanu goes under the bus in the cart, which I do love. Although I feel like some of the cops should have been watching out for the debris on the floor.
On the ground,
going, hey, on the runway. It's like, can we get another car that kind of paces around and cleans up all this crap on the,
get the street sweepers and have them lead at the front.
But that like that was a great scene. Like he flies under there. He has to I question the whole screwdriver into the gas tank maneuver because he grabs something else like right next to it later on. But it's pretty funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, listen, sorry, like this is Jan de Bont's first movie, but we talked about this off air. He did a lot of shit in, you know, cinematography wise, right? Lethal Weapon 3, Die Hard, like a bunch of action movies. So he was learning. He was you know, absorbing all of these things as a cinematographer. This is a great directorial debut. Like, how do you and then to jump on to Twister, like, unbelievable, right? But this movie is just great. It looks great, it moves great. I mean, every time they would cut to the speedometer, you know, you're a quarter of the way through the movie. Obviously, the bomb at this point has been triggered, and they would cut to that speedometer, and there's a party that was like, oh, like, you know, obviously you have like another hour.
It's almost like they could have done like a picture-in-picture, and it could have been the speedometer for the whole movie, and you'd be checking it. You'd be like looking up, going, "What's the speed during this scene?" and things like that. Chris Ho mentions, my brother, he mentions the classic video loop trick, which is pretty funny. But even that scene where they go to make the loop is super intense. So Joe Morton, Miles Dyson, whatever you want to call him, it's like yelling at the guy. He's like, record it now, record it, get out of loop. And the guy's like trying to like do it. He's like, I'm going. It's like such a high. He's
always yelling.
Situation.
He's always yelling at the beginning when
he's like, loop it.
Yeah, well, at the beginning in the office building, he's yelling at everybody to do stuff, and then he's talking and he's like, what are you waiting for? Go! And I'm like, nobody would know that we're done with your speech, man. Stop yelling at people.
Oh man. Okay. So unless anyone has any other scenes they want us to talk about, or you want to bring up, we'll talk about those. Let's take a quick diverge. So yeah. So yeah, he was so mean to the cameraman. Gordon says, "My biggest beef with the movie." Yeah, it's true. Yeah, he was like, but they did like the news crew is always like the news is always portrayed in like this negative light. So they did it in Die Hard. They did in this movie where they're kind of like they're the ones giving it away to the bad guys. So yeah, definitely, I guess that it was okay for him to yell at that guy, but he was really getting in on that. Like I was like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But let's diverge a little bit, and let's say, so if you really enjoyed this movie, is there anything we could recommend that's like similar to this movie? I was kind of hard pressed to find something of this caliber. The best recommendation I could come up with was Demolition Man from 1993, because if you're on a Sandra Bullock kick, maybe you can backtrack a year and watch her shine in Demolition Man. I don't know if you had anything off the top of your head.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Under Siege with Seagal. You know, again, first of all, that to me, I quite enjoy Under Siege. So I would totally, yeah. I mean, you've got there's a cook on the boat, and the boat's being taken over by Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Busey, I think, right? I'm pretty sure.
Gary Busey connection. Yeah. So you're saying that has a similar spirit to this, where it's high stakes, Die Hard on a boat, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, again, and I said this earlier. You can take any of these movies from 91 to 95, and they all have a very there's a connective DNA. Bad Boys, The Rock, Speed. You can take these and you can watch these, and they're just so easily consumable.
Yeah. So yeah,
high octane movies.
Yeah. I did like I've thrown it out before. Premium Rush with Gordon Joseph Levitt, if I said that right. I don't know.
Joseph Gordon Levitt.
Joseph. Oh, God damn it, head. All right. Anyways, so what's up, Gordon? So Jordan goes. I can't even say it. It's gone. It's gone already. You just said it and it's gone. But Premium Rush
in the wind. It's gone.
Yeah. Like a virgin on prom night. We'll go back to Point Break. But yeah, that movie definitely felt like it was like really intense, kept moving and things like that. Sarah shouts out Twister, which you did mention, Rob. So I guess that kind of in a similar vein. Yeah, I think Scott's got pure adrenaline going on. So yeah, I think we'll throw those out. Looks
you know what? I'll even throw one more. I'll throw one more out. This is one that I watched within the last year. It was on Amazon Prime. I think it might still be there. But Air Force One with Harrison Ford.
Oh.
Like again, this is another movie in the 90s. You know, he's the president and he's stuck on this plane, and Gary. Not Gary Busey.
No, I was gonna eat again.
It's him again.
He's coming
Gary
up everything. Everything's coming up Gary. Gary Oldman. Okay, yeah.
Gary Oldman. It has and he's doing a Slovenian or Russian accent or whatever, and they essentially hijack Air Force One. And Glenn Close is the vice president on the ground and stuff like that, and Harrison Ford has to essentially he needs to be able to be protected as a president, but get off my plane. Like, so yeah, I mean,
I like how Harrison Ford sounds like Batman. Martha, get off my plane while you're
get off my plane. Yeah, where are the drugs?
Yeah, so and Lewis throws out Fifth Element for some reason, just because it's also a fellow 90s movie. And I do have it in my Laserdisc collection, but I'm not going to go down and find it. But okay, so I think we've covered what we want to cover for Speed. Fantastic movie. Keanu Reeves, amazing as usual. The chemistry between him and Sandra Bullock, definitely very, very good. Like, I'm surprised they haven't connected again to do something. Have they? I don't think they've done.
Oh yeah. They've done tons of stuff. They did the time travel, the Lake House. What was it called?
Oh, is Sandra Bullock in the Lake House?
Yeah,
that's the one where you put the leather in the mailbox and it travels through time.
Yes. And I'm gonna take a quick look to see the number of movies that they've done. They did Speed, The Lake House, The Proposal, and The Blind Side. I guess. Wait, was he in The Blind? Oh yeah. So.
Oh, The Blind Side.
No, wait, he wasn't in The Blind Side.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't know.
No, Speed, The Lake. I put in Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves movies.
Now you're just getting Sandra Bullock movies. So let's move on from that. So since we are potentially thinking about maybe doing a bracket, or maybe we'll just do like I said, a list of 90s films that hold up. We've done Point Break now, and now we've done Speed. Where would you put those on the list? Do you put Speed above Point Break right now, or
Nope.
or do you think Point Break's you think Point Break is a better movie?
For me, yeah, but that's not to diminish anything from Speed. I really like Speed, but I'm as much as I touted the chemistry between these two, I can't. Patrick Swayze just, he embodies that role so much that I really enjoy his presence in Point Break.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. Patrick Swayze alone. But I feel like Speed is overall better.
Interesting.
Constructed. Yeah. Like.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Thematically and stuff like
but
that.
But I think it's simple in its premise, and maybe that's also it as well. It's
like straightforward,
and it's contained. You're on a bus, and you have a few other outside scenes, like you have the house, you have the elevator at the beginning. Which, let me just say this is very indicative of 90s movies where the cop has to get to the scene really quickly, and the car is flying into
that car goes
into the scene, and he gets out chewing gum, and he pulls up and he gets out and just chewing gum, and they go to the trunk to get their flak jackets and whatnot. I'm like, you would be holding your neck going, holy shit, my back. Like
the car would probably snap like a twig. But
the axle.
I think Sarah's idea was that Keanu is such an angel that he just helps lift things into the air. So maybe he was actually in the trunk of the Gone in 60 Seconds car. And he just helps these vehicles like float into the sky. So you guys in the comments, I'd like to know what you thought. We just watched two Keanu movies back to back. Do you choose Point Break or do you choose Speed?
What do you? And so you're saying
looks like
Speed.
Rob is picking Point Break.
Yeah,
I pick Speed.
Okay,
just something about this movie, and you get to see more of the main characters. Like Keanu, I'm trying to think how much time on screen you get of Keanu Reeves. I definitely feel like it is more than in Point Break, but Point Break has a lot going for it as well. So I can't fault it.
It's got Gary Busey.
Gary Busey running around, man. So Scott's in the comments. He says Point Break, so he's on your side. What if I throw something? So Sarah, it looks like everyone's with you. Point Break. They like Point Break. So maybe there's just a special place in my heart for Speed. I do own it on Laserdisc, so I guess that's my default fallback. In 90s movies, Rob, we have watched another movie and reviewed it in depth. The Crow. Where would you put Crow on our 90s?
Come on. Wait, up against these two movies?
Yeah. Just in, if we start ranking things in order, you know how Top Gear has that board of all their lap times? Like where would you slide The Crow into this mix? Would you put it?
The problem with that analogy is that all the cars have four wheels. They all do the same thing. This is a different genre of movie. Where would I put The Crow? Oh my God, they hit on two different notes. I hate these what ifs. When I was asked me, where do I see myself in 5 years? This is when the HR representative.
Oh yeah, I hate that question.
Where do you see yourself in
Hopefully
5 years?
Hopefully not standing right here. Just trying to figure out.
I'll tell you where you see me. Doing your job, not asking that question anymore. Okay.
What would you pop into your DVD? Well, I guess what would you stream out of these three movies?
I had the three movies. What would I throw?
What would be your order be? You know what I mean? What I
would do Point Break, Crow, Speed.
Point Break, Crow, and then Speed.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm comfortable with that selection.
I think I do Speed. I think I put Crow in the. I don't know if I want to put in the bottom. I think I do put in the bottom. These are all great movies, by the way. So Speed, just because it has its goal, it gets to it, and it finishes Point Break. You got the whole. Jesus Christ, Sarah just mentioned in the comments that she has never seen The Crow, so she has definitely got to go check that out. And then we did a podcast fill-in episode.
We did,
us and Howard and Josh, who wrote damned cursed children.
Children.
Children. But yeah,
and that was a lot of fun. That because the four of us were just and for those who don't remember, who maybe not ever seen it, I highly recommend you go back and check out that earlier episode. I feel like that was in December that we did it. It feels like years ago. But Josh owns a theater, an independent theater up in Ottawa. So we talked a lot about their comic. The two of them come to Howard Wong. They got together. They wrote this comic. It's amazing. Illustrated it, and then we got into The Crow, and it is a lot of fun. The four of us just going on about how great this movie is for what was a low budget movie. So if you haven't, you definitely check that out if you haven't seen it yet.
You should definitely watch The Crow. The only reason I put it at the bottom of the list is because the subject matter is much darker than these movies. So if we're going by, what I want to pop in and watch on a Saturday evening or even a Saturday morning, which is what I did for half of this movie, I definitely have a much easier time popping on Speed than the heavy kind of situations that The Crow deals with. Especially the opening scenes of it are especially dark.
Yeah, fair enough. So sorry, what have we got going on? I think a lot of people said
I think Point Break is winning unanimously over Speed, which I'm actually a little bit surprised. I thought some people would be on my side for Speed. I don't know, just something about that movie. But yeah, so I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That I was just taking a look. The Crow was on Amazon Prime. It's gone completely from streaming. I don't even think you can buy it anymore from iTunes, which is really
interesting. Interesting. It's definitely something worth picking up. So if you don't own a copy of it, especially for Brandon Lee's legacy. So shout out to our episode featuring The Crow, which we do interview Josh and Howard. We have a timestamp. So if you're not interested in the book that they worked on, you can jump straight to us talking about The Crow, which I think is the origin of our who died the worst
yes, it was.
listing because those guys really got it in that movie.
Yes, they did. Yeah, man. Listen, Speed is a great movie. It was a lot. I went to the theater to see it. I don't know if you did, but I remember going to the theater and we're just blown away by the
Marty Pants. If we do the math, you were not old enough to watch this rated R movie.
What do you mean? I was 18. I would have been 18.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I was just double checking.
Thanks, Mom. But yeah, no, I was 18. It was and I don't believe it was rated R in Canada at the time. It wasn't. I think it was a 14A in Canada. So
yeah. 14A was our equivalent.
Yeah. So it definitely a heck of a lot of fun and really fun to kind of go back and watch this again. Because we're so used to modern Keanu Reeves movies. And there's a shit ton of them. So it's always fun to kind of go back and to see this. It wasn't even the beginning of his career, but kind of the beginning of this action role for him. So yeah, a heck of a lot of fun. Really enjoyed Speed.
Yeah. So I feel like it's going to be very hard for us to rank movies like this, but I feel like we can definitely start a list of what things that are holding up. And so far, I feel like 90s is doing better than 80s, maybe.
Yes, I agree with that. So far,
pacing, storytelling, and things like that. So yeah. I'm definitely looking.
And can I say? I mean, even though we talk about the bus scene, I was gonna say like some believability, like some of those 80s things that happen. You're like, that looks ridiculous, but I don't know what happened in those ensuing like 5 or 6 years between like the Die Hard and these movies. But cinematography seemed to get a whole lot better, faster, and smarter in what they were showing. So. Yeah.
There's a lot of just like straight shots in the like in the 80s, we just like, here's the action going on.
Yeah, and
now we're getting we're getting in close and following cars.
Well, and I was thinking about like how that crane at the beginning of the movie, right? It's holding on to the elevator, and then you see like the crane arm come flying through the ductwork, right? And it, I mean, that crane arm was really big, and then all of a sudden it got kind of small as going through the. But I mean, it just looked plausible. Like it just looked you're like, okay, cool. Like it was, you never would second guess it. So, anyways, yeah,
yeah. And shout outs to Keanu's line. What's gonna stop this elevator? And then he's like, the basement.
Yeah. He's chewing gum and he's like, what gets the basement?
The basement. And you're like, all right, yeah,
okay,
funny guy.
Dick. Yeah.
Hey, if you're Dennis Hopper and you're trying to orchestrate this thing where you get money, do you choose to put the cop that, like, the cowboy cop that saved the day to do it, or would you choose like the Jeff Daniels character? Jeff Daniels, not Harry Daniels.
No, Jeff Daniels. You're right. Harry Daniels.
It's Harry Daniels. Who's Harry Daniels?
I have no idea who Harry Daniels is.
Do you choose Jeff Daniels to run through this gauntlet instead of Keanu? Like, let me pick this really, like, this hotshot guy is in like phenomenal shape and put him through this gauntlet.
Yeah. You make him. Yeah. It was. Yeah. I don't know, man. Dennis Hopper, he plays just he played this role like to perfection. He was just eating that scenery, right? So at any rate, loved it. Loved it.
Yeah. All right. So shout out to Sarah. Shouts out middle name Balls. So I don't know. I remember there's a line in the movie. You got some big hairy cojones or something like that.
Right.
And then Keanu's like, that is very gross. But anyways, thank you everyone for joining us. I think we're already like checked out for the night.
Yeah.
So next week we are gonna take are we taking a break to watch Walk in the Clouds, or am I
no, we're not. I would slap you.
I own it on DVD.
If I could touch you, I would slap you.
All right, so we're not doing Walk in the Clouds. We're doing John Wick 1.
Yeah.
I'll have a little more. We'll prep a little more. This one we kind of wanted to just kind of free flow it. So we'll try and come up with some more categories and stuff like that. Or Demolition Man. We could take a sidetrack into Demolition Man.
That's not a Keanu Reeves movie.
That is not a Keanu Reeves, but I feel like it is by association a very good Sandra Bullock vehicle.
I say we do. Stallone. I say after this we have to do a Gary Busey marathon.
What else do we have to watch? Haven't we watched
Under Siege?
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to revisiting the John Wick series. I that's one movie, the first one I have watched like countless times. We talked a couple weeks ago about Dread 3D, and I had watched it a lot. This is the next movie I would show people when they came over to my house who hadn't seen, and we'll talk more about it next week about how it was a bit of a sleeper hit at the beginning, as a lot of word of mouth is what really propelled it, but I'm very excited to rewatch this. Even though I remember
Rotten Tomatoes, it was like 90-something%.
Yeah, but people, it was in and out of the theater really quickly though. It was not.
Yeah, I actually missed it. I actually missed it.
So did I.
I was like, yo, I got to go see this.
Yeah,
and then it was already gone, and then I ended up watching it at home. I think I haven't watched it since its original release before it became this phenomenon. I think I've watched it a couple times before 2 dropped, but I don't think I've watched it ever since the sequel started popping up. So it's going to be interesting to kind of go back because just as a teaser, the 2 movies, John Wick 1 and Jack Reacher, dropped I think the same year. Yes. And they were kind of catering to this 90s movie feel that we're already starting to talk about. So they were almost kind of like throwback movies. And I did at that time, I would choose Jack Reacher over John Wick, but this is before 2 and 3 came out. So I'm wondering if the movie is going to have more impact now that I know that there's a bunch of sequels and a whole universe that they've created. So yes, Lewis, we're doing John Wick 1 next week on Monday. Thank you everyone for joining us.
It's just it's on, I believe it's on Crave. I'm just confirming.
You should own it. You should own it.
No, I know, but somebody asked where is it in the comments. I don't know who it was. I thought I saw somebody. Which way should I watch it? Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, anyways, if you don't own it, which you should, as John said, it is on Crave. If you need to watch it there.
Yeah, I feel like it was around a bunch of places, so maybe it's moved now and taken off. I feel like it was on Amazon Prime.
It's gone from Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Damn, these streaming services are really getting us.
Yeah.
In the wallet.
Yep. So yeah,
you should own these movies.
Yes, for sure.
I think you can very safely say that. But yeah, I think that's all we got for you tonight. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us for this.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right,
Rob, you got some new videos coming out.
Oh yeah. So I guess it's my first opportunity since the channel started to say thanks to everybody who has subscribed so far, and if you haven't, what the hell are you waiting for? But you can find me on Instagram at _905. The YouTube channel is there. Listen, man, it's to paraphrase Jerry Seinfeld. It's not everything's always going to be gold, but it's just doing some talking about statues, some comic books, omnibuses, kind of whatever. I also maybe delve into favorite snacks, and the last video that
comic
came out,
definitions.
between a comet and an asteroid, which you have to understand is a lot of this stuff. If my brain just works weird and these things pop out and I don't know where it comes from. However, last week so Tuesdays and Thursdays new episodes drop. Last week on Thursday I dropped an episode about what to do when you get your first omnibus and you stretch that spine. And Gordon here got his first collection. He got the Invincible Compendium and he decided to make a TikTok video on how
he's got to release that video or give it.
It was a lot of fun.
Put at the end of one of your videos because that's a great video. I love that.
It was a lot of fun.
Sarah mentions your tiger tail is nasty. I don't know what that's in. No, I know exactly what it's in reference to, but we're not going to turn this into an after dark joke.
And
I actually
will say
looked for that flavor. I was like, let me grab a bucket of this.
I'm going to get it for you, buddy.
But what's in it again?
It's like an orange.
There's one ingredient. Is there? Yeah,
licorice.
Go ahead.
Black licorice.
There it is. There it is. That is okay. So, shout outs to my fellow Asians who probably are like, who would ever eat licorice by choice? And I was like, when Rob mentioned it, and he's like, "Yeah, it's so good." I'm like, "That's some white guy shit." So,
all right.
Whenever you would go out for Halloween, you get a pile of licorices.
Yeah.
You definitely gave it to your white friend. So I'm gonna go in there for a second.
All right. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll take all the licorices.
Nobody wants your licorice. You can have it all.
Also, I want to say that I have a new episode coming out on Tuesday. It's a bit of a short one. But on Thursday, if I get it edited in time, actually my son is helping me doing the edit on it. So that's coming out. So Tuesdays and Thursdays on the 905 on YouTube. So thanks.
Yeah. And definitely people shout out your flavors of ice cream that are better than Tiger Tail. I think Sarah shouted out.
What the hell is wrong?
Heavenly Hash, which is actually one of my favorites.
What's
I don't know
happening?
if anyone has ever had I think there's a flavor called Cat on a Hot Tin Roof as well. I think that's probably better than your Tiger.
What are you talking about? No, man. Tiger Tail is the bomb.
Look, see, this is look. All the Asians in the chat are like, "What is up with this black licorice thing?" So that's why I say
good.
that. I'm not trying to be, whatever. I'm just saying that's the white guy shit.
But it's amazing. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. You guys got problems. I don't know.
Look at Scott jumping in. I love licorice. Yeah, that's why you guys can have it all.
Look, hang on here. Look at Gordon. He loves licorices. Yeah. Yeah.
See, this is my case in point. Oh no! Oh, sorry. Fraser went against Brand. So Fraser's not on board for the black licorice.
You're out. Oh.
All right.
Oh, well,
anyway,
all right.
so.
Well, hey, feel free to send all the black licorice my way because I love that. I even get those candies that taste like licorice.
Twizzlers is a different story altogether. Twizzlers, yeah, I'll partake in Twizzlers, but the licorice flavor, no thanks.
Wait a minute, but licorice? What are you talking about? Licorice flavor? Wait,
the black licorice flavor.
It's like Zambuca and Ouzo. You never drank any of that stuff? Come on.
I don't know what that is.
Well, if there's any Greeks in the house, you all know what my Zambuca and my Ouzo. So, all right, well, that's fine. I guess there's going to be a few of us on the chat here who will partake in eating all of the black licorice. So that's fine.
Yeah, your Tiger Tail ice cream. You guys can have it. There's a specific demographic, and we even saw the sample of it in our group that's watching now. Which I feel like we should allow things to devolve to this level a little sooner during the podcast because it seems like people are digging it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
folks.
everybody. Appreciate
I
it.
think that's it. Rob will drop a link on where he buys this mysterious ice cream.
Yeah, man.
I will not be buying it.
I'm gonna get some for you.
You know what I'll do? I'll take the tub and I'll eat everything except the licorice out of it, and I'll send you a
swirled
tub
in.
of, like,
You can't separate it.
nasty. I'll figure it out.
I'm coming to the store at the end of May, and I'm gonna buy you a pint, and I'm gonna sit there and watch you have to take at least one bite of it.
Well, okay, we better cut this off because it's getting ridiculous. Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining us. It's been a pleasure. So the Heroes World podcast, new episodes every Wednesday, and we're back every Monday if you're joining us super late with these shenanigans. So John Wick 1 next week.
Yep.
Thank you again, everybody.